Hello there friends, it's Cassie and welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're doing a special release day video hop for the Treetops and Trimmings Trinity Stamps Holiday Release. And let's talk about what we're using, and I'll get into the hop later. I'm going to be using the Tree Rex Stamps and Die. I love this little Tree Rex, so stinking cute. I'm also going to be pulling in the Slimline Forest Tree Line border. I'm just going to be using the snowbank, not the trees, but the trees are awesome. And I have this piece of cardstock here, and I will bring in another product later, but let's get to our die cutting. So I'll just pull out this one piece. This is great for snowbanks. I'm not exactly sure what part of that snowbank I want to use, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out across that full length of that cardstock. And now we'll jump into our coloring. I stamped my image onto some Express It cardstock using my Blackout ink by Ink on 3, and now I am doing how I traditionally color, which is lightest to darkest. That's just how I do it. I don't always do it that way, but 90% of the time I do it that way. I just find it's easier. So I am putting down that first wash of color, which is that YG01. And I love these. Not only is this image so stinking cute, but I feel like you could color it with all the different kinds of greens. It could just be, or even other colors. It wouldn't just have to be green. It could be so fun. Now we're bringing in our YG25, and I'm just putting it where I think the shadowing and shading would look good. I really don't have any rhyme or reason to exactly where I'm putting that down. I suppose you could try and make it look like your light source is coming from that star, which I suppose I sort of do that. And then I'm going to blend out that color a little bit. So now, as I said, this is a part of a release day hop. There is an Instagram hop going on, obviously, over on Instagram, but there's also a video hop. So down below in my description box, so if you click the little down arrow to expand that, you're gonna see at the very top the next person in the hop. So you're gonna want to do that. Make sure you comment along the way because there is a prize available, and there is so much great inspiration to be seen. All right, so back to our coloring. I'm just going to bring in one color for my bulbs and the star. So we've got Y19. Sorry, I'm off screen here a little bit, but I'm just coloring in a couple of those little bulbs. And then I'll bring in two more colors. And I'm not going to add any shadowing or shading to any of these. They're just kind of tiny, so I didn't feel it was necessary. We've got our R27. And then we're going to bring in a blue-green. This is, or no, it's just a blue. So it's the B04. When we have all of our little bulbs filled in, we're going to bring in a C1 marker just for the eyes. I felt like they needed a little bit there to make them look like they're bulging a little bit more, which is so cute. And then we'll bring in our matching die. So there is one coordinating die that goes with this to cut out that little Tree Rex. And for my card base, I have some of this cardstock that's almost a navy color but not quite, and it measured 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I scored that at 4.25. Before I attached down my snowbank, I decided last minute I wanted to bring in the Slimline Snowfall Stencil. So I'm going to put this down on my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station, and then I'm going to bring in that Distress grit paste. It's brand new. This is the Snowfall, so I think this is only limited time. If I can find it for sure, I will link it down below. But this stuff is fun. It has some texture to it. It'll obviously add texture through that stencil, and it's kind of gritty, which is fun. Seems a little bit like snow would potentially be. So I'm just using a palette knife and spreading that all over that piece of cardstock. Not so concerned about it reaching the bottom because I am going to have the snowbank there. But check it out. And there are two stencils to this set. I'm only going to use the one, but we'll clean up our mess. You know, take this to the sink, clean it off. And then I do want to bring in some splatter. So I've got some Distress paint in the color Picket Fence. I'll kind of water that down, bring in my paintbrush. Someone had suggested the other day using a fan brush, and actually that works really, really well. I may continue to do that as a fun way to add some splatter. And then I'm going to heat set that to just kind of make sure that grit paste dries, and also that my paint dries. And then using some liquid glue, I'll adhere down my snow border, and then I'll trim off those edges. Then I'll put some liquid glue behind our little Tree Rex. I thought about popping him up on some foam tape, but I really wanted this to be fairly low profile. I'll bring in that C1 Copic again just to add a little bit of shadowing underneath so it doesn't look like they're just floating on the snow. And then I have to add some sentiment. So I'm using the fa and the roar, and I had to count it out a few times, but I'm trying to make it say fa roar 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 roar. just like the song. So that's what I'm doing here. I've got the bottom part, you know, roar, 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 roar. That's so fun to try and say out loud. And then I'll add my fa on the end of, or on the beginning. I will bring in a Copic multi-liner just to add a comma so that you'll say it how it's supposed to be, right? And then I bring in a little jelly pen just to add a little bit of glimmer to the bulbs and the star. And then I do want to stamp on the inside. I screw up. I do screw up. I'm going to show you, and I'll show you how easy it is to fix it, really. I tried to stamp it with some shark tooth, and I pushed too hard on my stamp pad and then stamped too hard on my paper. So it just kind of didn't look right. So now I'm just going to stamp it onto some white cardstock, and I'll trim that out, and we'll just put it over the top like this little blunder never happened. The easier way to probably do this would have been to not push so hard on my stamp pad and then possibly use some white embossing powder over the top of it, but I really just didn't want to do that. Just thought I could maybe get away with just stamping. So we'll just glue this right over the top, and no one is the wiser except all of you and anyone who watches this video. So there is our card for this release hop. Like I said, be sure to head down to the description box and hop along with us. Check out all the fun inspiration. And yeah, so if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.